A new law starting tomorrow will tighten restrictions for repeat DWI offenders. The law was inspired by the deadly Park Tavern crash early this spring. Our Kent Erdahl explains how it aims to get more people enrolled in the state's Ignition Interlock program for longer.
For years, Ignition interlock devices have kept Minnesota roads safer.
It prevents a lot of people from driving drunk because you can't start the car without blowing into the device and having that breath sample show up zeros. And there are rolling restarts or retests. So while you're driving, you also have to keep blowing. And there are cameras on the devices so they can tell who's sitting in the seat and who's blowing into the device.
But Senator Ron Latz says historically, only 30 to 40% of Minnesotans required to drive with the device actually do.
Because it's expensive.
But he says a new law eliminates a big financial hurdle. Instead of paying a $680 license reinstatement fee before getting an interlock device, that fee now isn't due until license reinstatement. And if reduced cost doesn't motivate people, increased penalties probably will.
If you're supposed to have ignition interlock to drive validly, you're driving after revocation, that's now a gross misdemeanor.
I think there's going to be an effect of people being much more aware of what they might be facing.
Ed Cohen, owner of Smart Start MN, a local interlock provider, says drivers with 1 or 2 prior DWIs will also now have them count against them for longer. And if they have a new violation, they'll be required to drive with interlock for longer.
People who may have done some things when they were much, much younger can have those things come back to bite them now.
But it also might prevent another Park Tavern tragedy. The driver, Stephen Bailey, who once had interlock on his car, would have still been required to have it had the new law been in place.
And he was compliant with the interlock requirements apparently at the time. No indications that there were violations. So it helps people stay sober. We want to get them into the system because then they're safer. We are all safer with them on the road.
The interlock law is just one of several going into effect tomorrow. Criminal background checks will now be required for massage providers and adult entertainment business owners. Landlords can no longer discriminate against or charge for residents who are training service dogs. And inmates participating in restorative justice programs will now have limited confidentiality, allowing them to speak freely without fear of information shared being used against them in court.